Hey friends, Nuria here, yogini, meditation and pranayama instructor, witchy woman, tuning in today to talk to you about the importance of alignment for enlightenment. So what happens when we are misaligned in our words, thoughts, beliefs, speech, and actions is that it causes mental, emotional, and physical suffering. It causes a distortion or an incongruence in elements of our being, and we develop like a distorted sense of self. You may have heard the phrase, talk the talk but don't walk the walk. So it's like that, but on a deeper level. So beyond just walking the walk, but really analyzing the deep underlying causes for this lack of congruence or misalignment between desires and actions, or words and desires. So I'm going to give you a couple examples from my own life, because this is something that I have just really worked on so much, and it's actually really transformed my life and my spiritual practice. When I started living in alignment, things really began to flow for me. So back when I was a newer teacher, I really wanted to have full classes, as I think, all yoga teachers want to do. And maybe you're a yoga teacher, or maybe you're in a forward-facing, a public-facing role in life, and you want people to see you. However, I really didn't really want to be there. I wasn't very committed to the studio. I didn't feel committed to the class. And so there was a lack of congruence between what I wanted, which was people to commit to me, and my actual commitment to the class in the studio. And this caused a misalignment and suffering for me. I didn't get what I wanted, and also suffering for the students, because they felt like, maybe the teacher wasn't really that committed, and so why should they keep showing up? So that's an example of a lack of congruence in oneself. I was able to rectify that, right? Once I could see what was going on, I either chose to let the class go or really committed to it. Another example of misalignment that I think happens for a lot of people is around money. And I know I already talked about this in my first video. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So money is complicated. It tends to bring up a lot for people. And one example from my own life is that I just had a really hard time getting paid. Like, people wouldn't pay me on time, or they wouldn't pay me at all, or I was always trying to get payment for being a yoga teacher. And once I did the hard work of really looking at my own relationship with money, I realized that I didn't pay my bills. They were never late, but I was never right away to pay them, right? People had to ask me a couple times to remit payment for things. I had my own very distorted sense of, how I thought I was around money didn't match up with how I really was. And so what I was getting in the world was just a reflection of my own crap. And once I cleaned that up, and I'll do a whole video on money soon, because there's a bunch of other stuff around that, but things started to flow much better for me. And another, I think, common misalignment is, especially if you're in the wellness or the healing or helping profession, is to, really preach wellness, spirituality, self-care, but then not actually embody those practices. So I had a brief stint, and I did this as a yoga teacher too, but I had a brief stint where I started a wellness company, and in the process of launching it, I just was not eating enough or at all, working so hard, not taking breaks, not sleeping well, not keeping up with my friends, with my family, just completely the opposite of what I was promoting, which was wellness and holistic balance through rituals. I was not doing any of that myself at all. And, consciously or unconsciously, people can sense or perceive this sort of misalignment. Something just doesn't quite feel authentic. It doesn't really feel like, that person who is saying that thing is really embodying that. So that's why it's so important to do the hard spiritual work of coming into congruence and into really alignment in all aspects of life. Yes, there are an infinite other examples I have from my own life about ways in which I have been misaligned. One that just popped into my head actually right now is, and this is one of my favorites, I talk about it more when I'll go into some actual principles you can live by to help being aligned. But when we preach non-harming, ahimsa, or respecting life, if you're more in the Reiki lineage, one of the Reiki principles is to respect all living things, and then do things like text and drive, or like talk on the phone and drive, or like treat ourselves really, really badly, but everyone else really well. Like, this is also not respecting life. It's not practicing ahimsa. And so there is a fundamental conscious or unconscious incongruence between the words, the desire, the belief of the self, and the actual outcome or the actual practice that is being put out into the world. So, alignment is everything. Alignment is essential for awakening, for really becoming attuned to these higher levels of spiritual frequencies so that the whole of the being can awaken. And that's all I have for you today. So much love. I'm so excited to share this, and see you soon. Bye.